Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going through the 8 top ranked nations by UEFA, which are going to be involved in the Euros. We're going to discuss and predict how well we think those nations are going to do based on their squad selections, their managers, and overall performances that they have had in the last few friendlies heading into the Euros. Here on She Scores Bangers. In Group A, FIFA has ranked England in the 8th spot. Behind it is Norway in the 11th spot. Austria taking the 21st spot and Northern Ireland being ranked 48th. Looking at this group, I don't think it's very hard to say that we think England and Norway are the two teams to go through from here. England are possibly playing the best football they have played in years. Their roster is extremely good and very, very deep in the sense that their starting 11 is just as good as their bench. If you're heading into extra time or possibly even penalties, you know the substitutes that you're bringing in are just as fresh as those starting 11 players. Their squad is filled with on-form players with the likes of Beth Mead, Millie Bright having a great season in the back. They also have a number of veterans that are going to play an important leadership role like Lucy Bronze and Jill Scott, combined with really young players like Lauren Hemp and Chloe Kelly who are expected to do really, really good in the competition. On top of that, they're being managed now by newly Serena Wiegman, who's a winner. She has won the Euros previously with the Netherlands. She's also taken the Netherlands into the World Cup finals. She has come in and completely revolutionized and changed how England plays their football. On top of all that, they're also the hosting country. They're going to have a ton of fans really backing them up on any of the stadiums that they're going to be playing at. A game that I'm very, very interested in is their game against Austria. Austria is a very organized team. They're very disciplined in their midfield. They're very tough to break. They shocked some people in the last Euros, finishing ahead of France in their group, even though England has shown nothing but dominance and absolute grit on the field. We did see a little bit of shakiness in that sloppy, sleepy passes routine against the Netherlands in the first half. Netherlands was actually able to hold their shape pretty well. They were able to really tighten the back, suffocate a lot of the England attack. Moving on to Norway, the biggest talks is obviously Ada Hegerberg, the Ballon d'Or winner, being back in the squad. Almost every single player on their roster has had a great season at their club football. Much of the young talent and the rising stars that didn't do too well in the Euros have matured a lot. They have gained a ton of experience since then and have really shown to build coherence on the pitch together. In the last few set of friendlies, they've had nothing but positive performances. They were also able to beat Denmark in a very tough and competitive Scandinavian showdown. So for Group A, we have England finishing in the first spot and Norway finishing in the second spot. Moving on to Group B, which I think is going to be the most competitive group and one to definitely look out for. You've got Germany, Spain, Denmark, and Finland. At the FIFA rankings, Germany takes the 5th spot, Spain takes the 7th spot, and Denmark takes the 15th spot. They were able to knock out Germany in the quarterfinals, beat Austria in the semifinals, and eventually move out to the finals against the Netherlands last Euros. It's fair to say that they probably shocked a fair amount of people making it into the Euros and knocking out the teams that they did knock out on the way out, most notably being Germany. However, this time around, I don't think they're going to have as much success solely based on the fact that they just ended up in a very, very tough group. Germany has done the Euros 8 times. They've done it multiple times back to back. They have been quite literally the reigning champions of this competition until Serena Wiegman and the Netherlands came in. I would say they've been a little bit unlucky with a lot of the major competitions, even with the rosters. A lot of the times they have a fair amount of injuries, very significant injuries. In the Arnold Clark Cup earlier this year, where it was kind of a good preparation for the Euros, half the roster was not available due to COVID, injuries, suspensions, and they just overall did not have the best kind of preparation going into the Euros. With that being said, though, they're definitely a competition team, and the competition that they are able to do very well in is the Euros. Very similar to the England squad, it's quite deep, not as deep as the English, but definitely quite deep compared to the other squads, with a great balance between the old and the young. Some of the old have actually won the Euros, they've been in the World Cup before, they know how it is in the big stage. Those young players have shown to be able to step up and really do well under pressure. It looks like they've got the right mentality going into the competition. I'm sure they want to get that crown back of theirs. So they will definitely be a team that is going to be challenging to win this competition. Now, Spain, I have a few mixed feelings about because the players are great. The manager is not great. He has basically not chosen a single natural number 9 for his squad, which is absurd. You're going into the Euros with not a single natural striker. And what makes it worse is he actually had great options for the number 9, players who have had a great season at their clubs. He instead decided to go with 8 defenders, so a lot of these spots got filled up with defenders. I'm not quite sure what his plan is with 8 defenders. You know, obviously you want to have backups, especially for defenders, but I would have rather filled up those spots with at least one number 9. The few friendlies that took place in preparation for the Euros, I can't say I was impressed. He was actually playing Alexia Putellas in the number 9, which she's a great finisher. She knows how to kick. She's got great vision. But when you've got a Ballon d'Or winner, I mean, literally Alexia Putellas, you put her in the midfield. You want her to generate as many attacks and have as much possession on the ball as possible. You do not throw her in the number 9 spot. She's not a natural number 9. Another one is he has her taking corners. I think that doesn't make any sense that Alexia Putellas is taking corners. You either want her in the box, she's got very good reflexes and you can trust her with a rebound, or you want her at the edge of the box to send in a flying one. So it's small tactics like that just don't really make sense to myself. A lot of the Spanish players already play together. They've got great chemistry, great coherence. They know how to play together, but it just seems that when he comes in or when he's in the equation, some confusion comes out and ultimately it looks like they're being stripped away from tons of potential they could be reaching. It also just came out that he extended his contract for 2 more years. If I was the Spanish Federation, I probably would have waited for after the Euros to see how he would have done to sign his deal before going into the World Cup, but I'm not the Spanish Federation. With that being said, I am really hoping he's able to prove himself. I mean, I feel like even if he's not doing the best job, he's got such a great roster that the players are probably going to be able to do as good as they want to do. Hence why I think Spain is going to be able to edge Denmark and make it into that second spot. If we take a closer look at the quarterfinals showdown, it's going to be England versus Spain and Norway versus Germany. How fun is that? I feel like both matchups could have potentially been final matchups. Obviously, if Germany's able to finish second, Spain able to finish first, we might see the England-Spain showdown in the finals. It really just depends. This is solely our prediction of how we think it's going to go. Moving on to Group C, we have Sweden, Netherlands, Switzerland, and Portugal. Portugal hasn't done anything major in some time. I can't say they've improved greatly than the last few years. They've been almost in a plateau compared to Switzerland, who I feel like has gone down a little bit. I feel like a lot of people are counting them out, which rightfully so. They have a few star players, but a lot of them are coming off injury, specifically Leo Volti, who's been a little bit injury prone with the national squad. Speaking a little bit more about Sweden, they did very, very well in the Olympics. Unfortunately, they lost the finals against Canada. And if they're able to perform as good as they did in the Olympics, I have no doubt that they can definitely make it into the finals. Their Swedish attacking mindset is absolutely ruthless. I'd hate to be a defender going against the Swedish side. The back line is rock solid and the midfield is as tough as nails. It's not a nation you want to go up against. The Netherlands, I would say, was here 2 years ago and has just the last year. Mark Persons, their new manager, was a successful manager at the Portland Thorns in the NWSL. He's come in after Serena left. I'm very glad they had 3 games the last 2 weeks in preparation for the Euros. We really got to see how he understands rotations, what players he likes to start, and just the overall positioning he puts his players in. And for me, there was 2 major issues along with the list of major issues, but 2 very specific ones were definitely how damaged his wings are. He plays Dominique Janssen in the left back position. She normally plays in the center back and has come out and said she most comfortably plays in the center back position. She's also right-footed, so being on the left back does not do her much justice. On the right wing, he's playing midfielder Jill Roord. Jill Roord is arguably one of the best number 10s and midfielders in the current game right now. The fact that he's playing her at right wing is blowing my mind. You playing a midfielder in the winger position, she's not going to be sending in the best service, or she's not going to be sending in the service a winger would usually send. It's similar with Dominique Janssen in the back. She's not going to be connecting with her winger because she's not a fullback. She's also going to want to stay at the back and not push forward as often as fullbacks would because she's a natural center back. So the 2 sides are already disturbed, causing a lack of flow, a lack of coherence. Honestly, when I watch these games, it looks like they're lost. They don't know how to play the football, which is very heartbreaking because when they play their Dutch football, it's such a joy to watch. The pure quality and just the amount of stars he has on the squad is what probably going to do it for him in the group stages. He literally has Viviane Miedema, the striker. Give that woman the ball and it's probably going to end in the back of the net. The final group here, France, Italy, Belgium, and Iceland, is also kind of a predictable one. Italy, for me, is the biggest underdogs going into the competition. The investment the Federation has put into their players has shown great improvement in the last 2 years. One thing that definitely puts them aside from the other teams is how good their counterattacks are. They're very fast in reacting, they're very fast in making the right decisions. In the back, they're not to be underestimated. They're very disciplined and focused on keeping tight in the back. France, I don't think anybody has been very complimentary of France. Obviously, the manager leaves out a few players because she's a bit of a drama queen, which ultimately pushes her to pick players that don't deserve to be in the squad for the Euros. But what can you do? France's narrative has always been the underachievers in the competition. I think them and Netherlands are going to be fighting for this title this time around. If it was a different manager, I feel like the squad would have looked 30 times better and would have definitely had the potential to win this competition. I'm very excited to see how them and Italy battle it out. Obviously, France has a ton of quality stars. The biggest one, I think, going to the competition is Katoto. I almost feel like people seem to forget she's only 23. She's done very well in the Champions League. She's PSG's highest goal scorer. I will not be surprised if Italy is able to put them into deep waters and eventually have a point shared between them too. What this means for our quarterfinals showdown, it's going to be Sweden versus Italy, as well as the Netherlands versus France. For the first game of the semifinals, it's going to be England proceeding on to face Sweden. Germany is going to be too tough to break. Norway will definitely give them a tough day at the office, but Germany, with the mentality that they have, might be able to edge it. The game between Netherlands and France, we have seen that happen earlier this year where France beat them 3-1. Who is it going to be between England and Sweden is up for you guys to let us know. Those are going to be our predictions of how the competition is going to go. I'm so excited to see if we're anything close to what we think we are or very far off from how the competition turns out to be. Let us know your opinions on how well these nations are going to do. If you agree with any of our analysis or if you completely disagree, also do let us know. I'm going to be releasing a ton of analysis and preview content for the Euros and everything that's around it. Make sure you subscribe to us here and follow us on Twitter to stay updated and to continue enjoying the beautiful game. I will see you later.